Welcome, Sens Talk.
He scores! He bats it in! Tim Stutzler wins it for Ottawa! Triple Grant is going to put the finishing touches on an Ottawa win. See you later. Go Sens, go!
Welcome to Sens Talk. My name is Brandon Plant, and I am your host tonight. The Ottawa Senators took on the Winnipeg Jets as they look to snap their 4-game losing streak, while the Winnipeg Jets look to continue their franchise-high 10-game winning streak, looking to make it 11. Now, here in Ottawa, 11 is a very special number. Let's try to avoid making that a special number for Winnipeg as well. Now, before we get into today's video, I just want to say thank you to all of you who nominated us for 4 different awards at this year's Ottawa Faces Magazine Awards for 2025. We were up for Best Blog, which we won last year. We're also up for Best YouTube Channel, which we have won the last 2 years. And we're also up for Best Sports Reporter. It's under my name, Brandon Plant, and Best Sports Podcast. So if you want to vote for us, go to facesottawa.ca/awards to vote for us now. You can vote for us up to once a day for all 4 nominations until March 14th at 11:59 Eastern Time. Again, facesottawa.ca/awards. We're up for Best Blog, Best YouTube Channel, Best Sports Podcast, and Best Sports Reporter. So again, facesottawa.ca/awards to vote today. Again, thank you to all of you who nominated us. Now let's win this thing. Now, speaking of winning, the Jets can't stop winning, and your Ottawa Senators can do anything but win as they lose again tonight to the Winnipeg Jets 4-1. At the beginning of this video, as you probably could tell, I was like, you know what? Maybe we'll do a regular recap. Nah, let's just kind of talk about what's going down right now with your Ottawa Senators, because it's not good. It's not good. You know, going to this game, Ottawa was finding themselves outside of the playoffs, looking in for the first time since January 17th. It's been over a month since the Ottawa Senators were outside of a playoff spot. So, you know, it's needless to say that now is the time to pull up our bootstraps and get on a roll. We can't afford to get into a hole right now as the month of March begins. Our next game is in March. So the month of February, the Ottawa Senators are now 2-5. So yeah, that's not great. That's November-style numbers for the Ottawa Senators. And look, again, the Jets going to this game have won 10 straight. They lead the National Hockey League in wins. They have 85 points. They are an absolute juggernaut, and they had Connor Hellebuyck in net tonight for themselves. So that's a tough test for Ottawa, on top of the fact they're literally facing the top team in the National Hockey League. They're facing the top goaltender, and they're going to do so without their captain yet again. Brady Tkachuk misses his 2nd straight game, while Josh Norris and Shane Pitto also remain out. All 3 practiced today in regular full contact jerseys, so it was a bit surprising actually that we went again with 11-7, which, by the way, when we go 11-7 in the roster, that being 7 defensemen and 11 forwards, we're now 0-4 this year. I don't know about you, I hate the 11-7. I absolutely hate it. I hate it. And, you know, I forget who was on Twitter, I think Aleem's Martian, they pointed out something so glaring to me, that the Winnipeg Jets have like $9 million right now in cap space, okay? They have $9 million in cap space. They are first in the National Hockey League. 87 points. 11 wins in a row. Star goaltender, star forward, star everyone. $9 million in cap space. Your Ottawa Senators, fighting for their playoff lives, have lost 5 in a row. Not even like $1 million or so in cap space. If that doesn't say all you need to know about why the good teams are good and the bad teams are bad, I don't know what does. The cap situation for Ottawa right now is not entirely on Steve Staios. Pierre Dorion certainly plays a big hand into it as well. I mean, Travis Hamonick's no movement clause has made things tremendously difficult. But also, Dorion has not had the job now for 2 years. So you can't just blame Pierre Dorion anymore. Steve Staios has had a chance to, or at least has had an opportunity long enough now to fix these mistakes. He hasn't. Obviously, it's easier to say than do. But not buying out Hamonick, for example, this offseason. I know that would not have been a popular move, but you got like a lot of money freed up if you would have done so. Money that right now we desperately need to bring in a body, because this team desperately needs depth, which we'll talk about soon. And then on top of that, Perron, questionable deal. I mean, you know, we had a decent game today. We'll talk about it here in a sec. but he has to produce. He hasn't produced. He has like 4 points. And again, look. David Perron has had a hell of a year for the worst reasons possible, between family matters and, of course that stuff's way more important than hockey. But then on the ice with hockey, he struggled to produce. And then between all of that, he's dealt with injuries. It's not been an easy year for David Perron, and it takes a while to get your footing. But he's had time now. He's played like 5 or 6 games in a row. 6 games in a row, yeah. So he has 3 points in those 6 games. So I guess that's something. Hopefully that can help him get going here. And we'll talk about Batherson and Giroux as well in their last 6 games in a second here in the game notes after I briefly break down the game. But again, that's a lot of money there. $4 million. You could probably save a couple considering what he's doing. So the point is, Steve Stais also could have made better moves to help this team's cap situation. So, again, it's just kind of infuriating where, look, was this a scheduled loss where we expected to lose this game? Sure. But we had the chance to win this game, which makes it so much more frustrating. I mean, again, the Jets by no means did not deserve to win this game. They did. They were the better team. No doubt about it. But the Ottawa Senators shot themselves in the foot and nailed their own coffin in, and that's why they lost this game. By the way, Yannick and Angus Crookshank get shots today. Yannick looked fine, I guess. Nothing special there on the 4th line. But Angus Crookshank on the 1st line, great opportunity for him. And I think he actually looked very good. 3 shots on goal today. He has 18 goals in Belleville this year. More than deserves an NHL call-up, and finally got it. And he definitely stood out today, and in a good way. So hopefully Crookshank continues to get opportunities and minutes with the Sens. He certainly deserves so after tonight's performance. And again, to the injuries. So I'll say it here. While I understand Brady Tkachuk wanted to represent his country, and I actually have a lot of respect for that and admiration for that, I think, more players should do that and have that passion and will to, represent their nation on the national stage. If you knew it would cost you games down the stretch for the Ottawa Senators and this pivotal run when we haven't made the playoffs in nearly a decade, then selfishly I will say, I mean, it's probably selfish to say, I wish he didn't play that finals game. Now, obviously, a guy like Brady Tkachuk is not going to play in that finals game. He's not going to miss that game. Obviously, he's going to play in that game, injury or not. But this is the trade-off, right? And again, multiple losses to Buffalo and Montreal this year. Now 5 losses in a row. 2 losses in which you are missing your captain in those games. That could be the difference, right? And sue me for being a little frustrated about that. Again, don't blame Tkachuk at all. You got to have a lot of respect for a guy like that wants to put it all on the line for his nation. But at the end of the day, it's at the expense of our team. And, tonight really proved that Ottawa desperately needs Shane Pinto, Josh Norris, and Tkachuk back today, all of which played in or practiced today in regular full contact jerseys. So a little shocking they didn't play today. But that's what happens. I mean, you miss 3 key guys and you make a couple of mistakes, and against a team like Winnipeg, that's all it takes. And in the first period, we saw that on full display. Tim Stützle literally has no one around him to really help him offensively, so he feels like he needs to do it all, and he does too much here with a turnover, backhand pass going to nobody, no-look backhand pass, I might add. So there's a careless play from a guy like Stützle, who's literally doing everything for Ottawa right now. So I'm not going to harp on him too much here. He's literally trying to create something out of nothing. Unfortunately, that's what's going to happen sometimes. Eventually, it's going to be a turnover, ending up in the back of your net, and that's exactly what happens here. Perfetti all alone, out front, the tip at home to make it 1-0 Jets, and then 2 minutes later, it's the perfect storm as the Jets crash the net as Nino Niederreiter backhands one on Ullmark. He stops it, doesn't squeeze it enough, it gets loose. He doesn't know it for about a few seconds. The only one that knows it is Appleton, and he puts it home to make it 2-0 Jets. At this point, Ullmark, thanks to Everyday Sense for the stat, 7 goals on his last 20 shots. Not good. Not good. And I tweeted it out. I'm going to say it here. You needed your guys like Stützle and Sanderson and Ullmark, the big guys that are still in this lineup, and Batherson, to step up. Stützle, he stepped up. Ullmark, I mean, that was a tough goal, but I can't blame him for the loss. 38 shots he faced, made 35 saves for a .921 save percentage. Not his fault tonight. But it really just comes down to the lack of depth for the Ottawa Senators in their forward core and the blue line's inability to produce offense if your name's not Chabot or Sanderson. Sorry to say, but I mentioned it in the season preview, losing Chychrun, who's having a fantastic year in, Washington. And look, Jensen's had a great year, so I'm not taking anything away from him. But, and again, you could never have afforded Chychrun to begin with on this cap-struck team. But I said it in the preview. I'll say it again here. You can go back to the video and see it for yourself. Ottawa really needed a defenseman. If it wasn't going to be Chabot or Sanderson, you needed those few depth defensemen on your second and third pairing to start contributing a bit offensively. They haven't done so. Chabot and Sanderson have been a little better as of late offensively, no doubt about it. Sanderson has like 4 goals in his last 8 games. Chabot with another goal tonight. But not consistently enough. We're at the rate that we need. And most of all, having that 3-headed monster, that 3-punch attack basically from the blue line last year certainly helped Ottawa and their offensive abilities. And you can see that struggling, and you can see that also affecting Ottawa tonight. But again, most of all, missing Norris, Pinto, and Tkachuk really cost Ottawa here. And you see Hamnick, by the way, in the first period of play. He had the first 5 of 11 shots for Ottawa, and it's just frustrating because he had a wide open look on Connor Hellebuck, and just shoots it right into his chest. And, from just before the hash mark. So, I don't know. If you're getting an open look like that, Hamnick's an NHL veteran. This is a guy that has scored a lot of goals, honestly. He's been around the NHL for a while. If there's any time to clap bomb it, it's then. If there's any time to get closer, it's then. Why are you taking a shot right to the chest with no bodies out front from like 20 feet away? It's just, when the team finally shoots, it's such low danger chances. We saw from Batherson as well today. Clevin, by the way, took a hit, or made a big hit, sorry. And I hate when they have to do this. Should have been an instigator on Winnipeg. He had to fight against Lowry, his first NHL fight. And Lowry fed him. I'm not going to lie. Lowry beat him. But in Clevin's defense, that was like his first NHL fight. And I've never been in an NHL fight, obviously. Mark Mathot has. And I think he had a great point on Twitter saying that in your first NHL fight, you're kind of frozen, as a young guy. And overall, Mathot thinks that Clevin hung in there, especially against like a dog like Lowry, an absolute monster. Unfortunately, though, for Clevin, he would not return with a lower body injury. Travis Green in the postgame said it's hopefully not serious, and he maybe will be back Saturday. Hopefully we'll be back Saturday, which he always says, so who knows really, but we'll just have to see what happens with that. So anyways, 2 mistakes in that first period of play for the Ottawa Senators frankly cost them for the rest of the game. You go to the second period of play, and 8 minutes in, it's the classic goal against by Travis Hamonic and Drake Batherson, by the way. After a brutal goal last game, he does it again today. Hamonic gets beat to the net. Batherson doesn't cover his man. Hamonic getting beat to the net leaves a ability for the pass to go through right to Connor. Connor makes no mistake about it. 3-0 Winnipeg. Batherson needs to be stronger there. Hamonic especially needs to be stronger there. Bad goal all around. Embarrassing, pathetic, frustrating. But a minute later, Ottawa would get on the board. There we go. Shabbat Shalom. Tom Shabbat cuts the lead to 2. Tim Stützle flies in and then feeds Shabbat for that goal. Who, by the way, Shabby snipes it. What a shot he has against Hellebuck. Top shelf snipe where Mama hides the cookies. To make it a 2-goal game. Tim Stützle, 10-game point streak, a career high for him. So congratulations to him. And then, we, in my opinion anyways, I'm sure you, we probably all felt that just maybe Ottawa had a chance. They killed a 5-on-3 against the Winnipeg Jets there in the second half, the second period of play. Winnipeg has like an above 30% power play this year in the National Hockey League. It's first in the NHL, okay? So Ottawa killing a 5-on-3 feels like a TSN turning point. But no, it was not. We go to the third period of play. Really nothing happening. The Jets are such a good team. They shut us down, and Ottawa falls 4-1 to Winnipeg. Empty net goal for them. Just embarrassing, lackluster, and frankly, just pathetic. Just pathetic. And, I did some stat digging here, and in the last 6 games, Perron actually not bad. In terms of point totals for him, considering he, for some of these games, was not in a top 6 role. 3 points, 2 assists, and 1 goal, but a -6. Now, plus minus is not everything, but just keep that in mind. -6. Giroux, he has frankly carried Ottawa the last couple of years. I'm not going to harp on him and his dry spell this year. 2 assists, 2 points, 1 goal in the last 6 games with a -4. And again, He's the elder statesman of the team. I'm not going to harp on him at all. And then Batherson's something I'm going to harp on, though, because 4 points sounds better than it is. 3 assists, though, so most of those are because of Tim Stützle doing Timmy things. 1 goal. Need way more goals from Drake Batherson, who has multiple shots per game on average down this stretch as well. A minus 11. Minus 11. So the defensive effort by Batherson has been lackluster, to be very nice about it. I think he would be the first one to admit this. He needs to be better. Minus 11. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? By the way, all 3 of these players are minus 2 today as well. And again, plus minus is not everything. But in 6 games, you're on the ice for 11 goals against. What else needs to be said? What else needs to be said? Oh, it's so embarrassing. It's so frustrating. And it's such agony. Agony. When you just look at the standings and the other teams pass us. And now, again, we don't play till Saturday, until March the 1st. We might be a few points out of a playoff spot come Saturday. So we'll see what happens with that. And again, it just shows the lack of Senators forward depth in this game when Ottawa controls puck possession and wins 60% of the faceoffs. I mean, that's just crazy. We control possession, we won the faceoffs, and still, again, could not find a way to win and could not find a way to score. And when you have 2 costly mistakes that end up in your back of your net against a team like the Winnipeg Jets with a guy like Hellebuck in net, and when you're missing guys like Norris, Pinto, and Tkachuk, should we have expected anything less, right? So I saw some Allmark slander, by the way. That second goal on him, definitely need a stop there. Definitely should not have gone in. 38 shots he faced, made 35 saves for a .921 save percentage. This was not on him. Did he steal the game for us? I don't think so. But he definitely didn't lose the game for us either. So we'll just have to see what happens on Saturday as we take on the San Jose Sharks. I'll be there. Hopefully, when I've been in the building with Noah, we were like undefeated in like 10 games. So hopefully that trend continues. And the Sharks, not exactly the Harlem Globetrotters of the NHL. So hopefully we can take them down. But with that, let me know what you think in the comment section down below as always. And I'll speak to all of you soon. Go Sens, go.